cause and effect, which is fundamental, as you know, to our science of mind, our religious science teachings. And the theme for this whole month has been the invisible behind the visible. So each week we will, and we will, reflect upon a state of consciousness. Last week, we talked about surrender. I really like that one. Really, everyone I ran into last week had something with surrender. It was just like beautiful. It was amazingly beautiful. But so the state of surrender is when we actually do let go and let God. Let God. We let go of all of those old beliefs and energy blocks and everything else that holds the good of the divine from moving through us. And so what it does is it brings us out of our smallness too. Sometimes we stay in these little places of smallness. So this is a way of expanding who and what we really are, and that is creations of the great Creator. So today we're going to explore a different state of consciousness, and we'll see if you can deduce what it is from these statements that I'm going to read you from Ernest Holmes. So I'm going to read a couple of statements. He writes in Science of Mind book, "Our mental acceptances should be filled with conviction, warmth, color, and imagination. The creative power responds to the feeling more quickly than any other attitude. Healing," he writes, "takes place to the degree we send the right kind of thought into the subjectivity, which is the law of attraction. We mean by thinking consciously and with deep feeling." This is Holmes again. "We implant the right idea in mind, which mind then reproduces as an idea, as an effect." He also writes, "Always feel that it is done, complete and perfect." And finally, this is a little poetic of him, feeling is at the center of the universe, and when reflected through our consciousness, sheds its glow wherever the thought travels. So, the $1 million question here is, what do you think the state of consciousness is? Anyone? Look at the name of the talk.
Surrender.
Feeling into, that was last week, feeling into fulfillment. So we're going to be discussing feeling and what our feelings, how they can guide us into what is right for us and what maybe doesn't serve us any longer. So here's another question. It's a little easier than that one, which I thought was really easy. I kept emphasizing the feeling part of it, but okay.
And nothing more.
2 and 2. What do 2 and 2 equal?
4.
Exactly. Every time. No change. Every time. So there is no exception to that formula, and equally as reliable as that mathematical formula is, it's the formula for creation. Thoughts plus feelings equal manifestation. Thoughts plus feelings. It's not just our thinking, it's what we feel that the law responds to. And the laws we know are the laws of the universe, the laws of God. When we held our foundation workshop, those of you who are in foundation class remember it, we went through the 5 stages of spiritual mind treatment, which is our affirmative prayer. And it's a technique that's extremely powerful, and we learn it. But what we emphasized in that workshop was the feeling state behind each step. There's 5 steps. It's the feeling state. What is it? We all know, certain things that we might want to create in our lives. But what is the feeling that you want to experience behind that idea of creation? Because you might get the thing and still feel something's missing. So it's the feeling. That is so key. It's so key for all of us to really get clear about. In the first version of the movie The Secret, which we watched here a couple of months ago, and I only play the original because Jerry and Esther Hicks are in that, the Abraham stuff is in that. So she said something that applies to this talk in another way. She said, whatever it is you're feeling is a perfect reflection of what is in the process of becoming. Whatever it is you're feeling is a perfect reflection of what is the process of becoming. Because, as I've been saying every Sunday, we're always in the process of becoming. We don't, if we do, then it's not really helpful to us, remain stagnant. Because the divine creator is always becoming more of itself. So then it is our right and our privilege and our joy to always expand. We're always becoming more. And that, to me, is very exciting. So we can agree then that our feelings are a very important component in the creative process. Because that's another thing we really get into in our foundations class, is really learning that creative process that we're all doing anyway, so we might as well be aware of it so we can create what we want in our lives instead of just creating by default. You're going to create anyway. But let's talk about another very, very important role our feelings in the creative process have for us. So what is that role? And who's familiar with GPS? Okay, most of us. You know what it stands for, that acronym?
Global Positioning System?
Oh, whoa! I'm impressed. All right.
Taking a guess.
Yes, that's exactly what it that's exactly what it stands for. And it helps you to get from where you are to where you want to go. Yes?
Yeah,
That's the whole point of it. Well, we each have an internal system similar to the GPS, and it's called the EGS. And that stands for our emotional guidance system, right? And anyone that's been in Law of Attraction class, we have a full house in that class, they get that handout. I hand out the scale, the emotional system scale. Also in Radical Forgiveness, which I will be teaching along with my fabulous colleague, Carol Mayo, practitioner here at Director Gathering. We hand that out too because it really helps us, it helps me anyway, to physically see how I can move up that emotional scale, and you'll see why. Okay, it's like the EGS is like the GPS. Messed that up. No, got it right. Okay. Because it helps you know what you're feeling, where you are in your emotional state to get to what you desire to experience in life. So it's all about what you are attracting into your life, right here and right now. So your EGS tells you your energetic vibration. Because we all know we're energy, so we're always vibrating. So the EGS is, the emotional guidance system, is helping us to see where we are along that scale. Your emotions, your feedback mechanism for being on track or off track. So the emotions really guide us as to what we're feeling. We're going to think about this as a gauge, a fuel gauge, a fuel gauge in a car. But first, remember the movie, again, The Secret? We just watched it. And there was a young man he chained up his bicycle, if you remember in the movie, those who were there. And he kept worrying, kept going back to see if it was missing, to see if it was stolen. And of course it was at the end. But I think one of the greatest lines that in the movie came from Esther Hicks, when she said, "You can tell by the way you feel if things are moving toward, if the things you are moving toward will please you when you get there." So let me repeat that again. You can tell by the way you feel, if the things you are moving toward will please you when you get there. You can tell by your feelings if it feels right. You know, we say feel good, but for me it's always, does it feel right? If it feels right, then I'm listening to Spirit guiding me, because we all have that intuitive voice within us that is guiding us all of the time, but we have to get used to, develop the skill of listening to it. So imagine for a moment a gauge which indicates the position of the full allowance of divine urge to create over to the far right. So this is, on this side, the far right is, we're in the car now, but we're in the human field. So this right is the allowing part. And all the way over to the left is the resistance part. This is where we are disallowing or not allowing the divine urge to create. So this gauge, like the gas gauge on the car, goes from full, okay, allowing, to empty, disallowing, not letting in. And so this is a gauge of emotions. And notice, as I list the emotions on the gauge, I'm going to list some emotions on this gauge, when it starts to tip, when it starts to really tip. So here are a few of those emotions: joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, connection, passion, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, positive expectation, centeredness, calm, belief, optimism, hopefulness, contentment, boredom, pessimism, frustration, irritation, impatience, overwhelming, doubt, worry, blame, anger, revenge, rage, jealousy, guilt, unworthiness, fear, despair, and helplessness. That's at the bottom, that helplessness. So where did our scale tip? Anyone know?
Pessimism.
Hmm?
Pessimism.
It was right in between. It was right before that. It was in between contentment and boredom.
Okay.
And then,
Boredom.
yeah, boredom is not on that upscale of our gauge. So joy to contentment and emotions on the side of allowing, from boredom to powerlessness, are emotions on the side of disallowing. So on this side we have the joy and all of those wonderful emotions that we feel, happiness and peace and contentment and that enthusiastic expectation. And then we start going down when we hit the boredom and the pessimism, and we keep going down with the anger and the rage. So we have this part on the left side is disallowing us from feeling the joy of living life. And really, life is meant to be lived in joy. It really is. Most of us don't know that, but it's the truth. That's the truth, and it feels really good. And when we're in joy, we allow more of that, of Spirit's good, into our lives. So we're creating from that place our next experience. I want to create from joy, not from rage and anger and guilt and all those other ones on the left side of the. So if you tap into your feelings are they're gonna give you all the messages you ever need to know to make any decision, by the way. So if you tap into your feelings at any given time, notice if you feel bad. Notice if you feel bad. Then you can know that what you are thinking at that moment is disallowing. It's not allowing the flow of good. When you're feeling bad, pay attention to that, because it's giving you a message that maybe what you're doing at that very moment is not serving you. It's not serving you, and it can give you so many prompts in your thinking to move you into a place of feeling that peace, feeling that contentment. If you feel good, then that which you are thinking is in alignment. It's in alignment with what you want, and you are feeling into fulfillment, which is the name of the talk. It's that simple. So you cannot go to a place of fulfillment if you are feeling bad all of the time. So what are you focusing on? You know, I call it a mind check. Do a mind check every once in a while. What am I thinking? Because my body is not feeling, I'm not feeling right here. So there's tremendous value to be able to deliberately cause even the slightest improvement up that emotional scale. And there's tools to do this, okay? To move up the emotional scale. For even a small emotional improvement, you may have regained a measure of control. Because you know, when we're in that, on that left side of that gauge, when we're in the anger and the resentment and the powerlessness, it doesn't feel like we have control. It feels like the feelings, the emotions have control over us. But as we go to that right side, as we uplift ourselves, as we go into the peace and the happiness and the well-being, that's where we really feel that we have regained a measure of control over our lives. Sometimes our lives feel like they're out of control, but really it's our thinking and our feeling that allow us to feel that way. So here's the thing. Just because you make a decision to have a different feeling, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can go directly from the feeling right here and right now. You know, you might be in a place of you said, you know, disempowerment, of rage, of just being really upset and in a dark place. Well, it's going to be really difficult to jump from that into joy. It's really difficult. And then I find it's very simple sometimes to go from joy the other way, which isn't even in my talk, but it's the truth. But it's the truth. So we're climbing up. Okay, and usually it takes the time it takes, so it could be usually is a gradual climb up the emotional scale. Sometimes you might be with someone who's in a different place, a higher realm, and they're feeling great. They're telling you, stop that negative thinking, start thinking positively. You know, but you know, it's easy for that person to say at that particular time because they might be in that higher vibration, that higher frequency. When we might be down here, we might just not be feeling it. So yeah, we want to get there, and we will get there if we make that our goal, but it's going to take as long as it takes for us to move up. So you're not just going to jump from here to there. You know, it's like filling the gas tank up. It takes so long at the pump for the whatever that thing
Gauge.
is. The gauge. What's that thing?
Yes, gauge.
Well, the needle. Thanks, Joe. For the needle on the gauge to go up to the joy part. It doesn't just jump from empty to full. It takes the time. That's why divine right order, spiritual truth, is really a great thing to gauge yourself by. The key to moving up the vibrational emotional scale is to be consciously aware or even sensitive to the way you feel. For if you're not aware of how you feel, you can't understand which way you're moving on the gauge. You know, we create through default in that way. And I know that appreciation is a high vibration. So find something to appreciate. If you want to move up, if you're in a dark place, if you're in a place of anger and guilt and blame and all of that stuff, and you want to move up to a place of peace and well-being, start finding something to appreciate, something to be grateful for. There is always something in our lives that we can be grateful for. There is always something. So that starts the whole energy of the law of attraction. It starts the whole energy shifting in the direction that we want to go, unless you want to stay on empty. I prefer to be on full, and I think most of you do. So, two powerful processes to change your emotional state is visualization and gratitude. And I'm glad you're here, because 2 weeks ago, Shabri, who's sitting over there, she facilitated a fabulous vision board and vision card workshop. And it's where we cut out pictures of what we desired, what we wanted to experience in our lives. We cut out these pictures and glued them to our boards, and so we created what we wanted to experience. The room was full, and it was a whole lot of fun. So just being in the room alone was uplifting. Being around like-minded people in that energy, you start to vibrate a little. And everyone sharing their pictures, and inspiration moves through. And it was such a powerful exercise, but it's part of visualization. You can do it just in your mind if you close your eyes and just visualize what you want, but I find it to be really powerful to do the physical act. And if you do remember, also in The Secret, there was that guy that he manifested the mansion, that big, huge, gorgeous house, and then when his little son came in the room with all these boards, and they were his vision boards from much earlier in his life, and he found that he had manifested every single thing on those vision boards, right down to the detail of the house and what it looked like. And I know Chabri and others had shared that their old vision boards that they look back on, they manifested everything on them. So this stuff works, and if you don't believe me, try it. Try it for yourself. You don't have to believe me. It really does work. So there's also a treasure mapping exercise you can do right now, is to put yourself in the place of feeling that you already have the experience that you desire. What does it feel like for you? So if you have quiet time, you can do that. You can go into a place of, what does it feel like? This is what I want in my life. What does it feel like? What is the feeling that's coming up? This is opening doors. This is opening the doorway so that we can then demonstrate and manifest what we want to experience in life, our good that's inherent within us, which is clearing away the old stuff. And in the movie, The Secret, Jack Canfield gave a three-step formula for feeling into fulfillment. And the first was visualize what you desire to express. Visualize. And the second was come out of that visualization and be grateful. Be grateful for what you have already. As I said, we have so much more that we could ever realize, but we don't pay attention to what we have. There's so much to be grateful for, and just by doing that one little step, it elevates us really quickly. I think it's one of the most powerful jump starts, if you will, to the emotional guidance system. And the third is release. Release it to the universe. And that sounds a little bit like our spiritual mind treatment, yes? The last step is to release, let go and let God. We let go into the law knowing it is done. So the second aspect is gratitude itself. And talk about the power of gratitude for what you already have. When you find yourself, and I've been catching myself, especially since I've been working on this talk, so this has been helping me move in that. Watch what you are saying. Listen to yourself, and then your body is going to tell you if it's good or bad, because it's going to either feel good or it's going to feel bad. And if it feels bad, it's not what you want to be talking about. It's not what you want to be talking about. And if visualization doesn't make you feel better, and if it is difficult to feel gratitude for anything, then do whatever is necessary for you to feel better. It might be putting on some music, dancing, hugging someone, hug your spouse or your friend or your pet. I mean, look for something to uplift you. Don't dwell on that which is bringing you really heavily down on that left side of the gauge. Start doing something to move yourself. Maybe it's going for a walk on a beautiful day like today. That will help elevate your emotional guidance system. It will help bring it up. So I have a short story, and it fits right in with our whole fundraising thing, and also with my life. 2 baby boys were born prematurely. They needed to be put on incubators. One baby was put in his incubator. They were in separate incubators, and the other in his. So days passed by, and the tiny baby seemed to be starting to grow and to thrive. One of them was growing stronger, though, each day, stronger and stronger. Was getting healthier and healthier. Meanwhile, the other little baby in the other incubator was slipping away. And he was getting weaker and weaker each day, less alive. He didn't have that energy force in him. The medical staff became quite concerned for him, and they were doing everything they could medically to help this baby regain his strength. Then one day, one of the nurses had an inspired idea against hospital policies, because 3 months I was in that NICU. 2 different NICUs, because I have twin grandsons, as most of you know, and one was 1 pound 12 ounces at birth, and the other was 2 pounds 4 ounces. So you have 2 different hospitals even. But this nurse, and they have policy, they have rules, okay? But this nurse decided that she was going to do something that was against hospital policy. So she took that sick little baby out of his incubator and put him in with his healthier brother. And the healthier of the two, mind you, even though he was premature, he was healthy, he put his arm out and put his arm over the brother, whether he knew consciously or not, over the sickly little brother. And that brother began to head in the direction of healing. He started to move in that direction, the energy exchange there of these twin brothers. Now notice how you're feeling right now. Feel a little uplifted by that story?
Absolutely.
Okay, then take that feeling. It is a step up. It's a step up. It's a step up. And if you feel good about that, then buy a ticket to our fundraiser. Because 30% of our proceeds are going to the Cooper NICU, going to that neonatal unit at Cooper. And as Barry viewed it, but then as I became used to it, especially when you go to CHOP. CHOP is a whole nother ball game from the Jersey ones. It's so inspiring, and it's so incredible what these people are doing. If you feel bad, go visit a NICU. They won't let you in. But if you know someone that has a baby in there, go visit them. Because it's so inspiring to see these tiny little forms of life and how they blossom and flourish. And we're going to do a lot of dancing at our, right, Barry? At our fundraiser. So if you come in and you're not feeling really great, you will. Money back guaranteed. Barry told me that. We give you your money back. If you don't feel your vibration moving up, your emotional guidance is gonna go right through the roof. Tell me, you're not gonna be in joy. You will be in joy. So remember, if you are feeling good about something, then you are working in harmony with it. And you're on your way to feel the fulfillment. But if you are feeling bad about something, you are in resistance to that which you desire. You're in resistance to it. And by your EGS, your emotional guidance system, you can tell at any moment where you are. All you have to do is pay attention to how you feel. It will give you, we have a brilliant, a genius body here. Every cell in our body is filled with such brilliant intelligence, and it comes together. We're massive cells, and it's all intelligent, and it's all giving us guidance if we listen to it. If we listen to it. And that is true. So it's not possible for you to consistently feel bad about something and have it turn out well. It's not possible. But here's the good news. It's equally not possible for you to consistently feel good about something and have it turn out badly. It's going to turn out good. It's what we're focusing on, what we're feeling into. And so remember, our formula, 2 + 2 = 4, all the time, never changes. Thoughts and feelings equal manifestation. We manifest. Thoughts, feelings. That's when we say alignment. That's what it means. Have them match up and have them be in the spiritual truths that we talk about, that we teach in the classes. And to finish up with, Joseph Campbell is often quoted as saying, follow your bliss. What we don't usually hear is the rest of that statement, which I'm going to read to you now, where he says, follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you where there once was walls. So follow your bliss, the universe will open doors for you where there once was walls. Why will the doors open? Because when you follow your bliss, you are in the state of feeling good. When you follow your bliss, you're in the state of feeling good. And that's how we feel into fulfillment. So let the doors open. Express your good. And so it is.
So it is.